Master Your Mindset Radio, episode 117.
Welcome to Master Your Mindset Radio, the show where we empower you to discover your true self before the world told you differently. Now for your host, Elizabeth Nader.
Hi, friends. Merry Christmas and an upcoming Happy New Year to everyone. I hope each of you is taking time to spend with those that you love and doing things that will help you relax and get prepared for 2022. A lot of us are looking forward to next year and so much that we want to accomplish and so many goals we want to meet in our lives. And of course, a lot of hope that it will be an even better year. We have been through a lot in the past almost 2 years now. We have been through a lot since the pandemic started. And I have avoided that topic for the most part in my podcast, although I've certainly skirted around it with subjects such as fear. But I need to focus a little bit more on it tonight because it's really bothering me what's happening right now. I am recording this podcast at the end of December 2021. And as history looks back, history will remember that that is when the Omicron variant of COVID-19 was all the rage in the news. Now, we have been in this fight since the pandemic started in 2020. It's been a long time. We've learned a lot. Everyone has opinions. There are enough opinions to go around. It's not clear what science is real anymore, and sadly, this has all been politicized and science has been put on the back burner. But there are some common sense things, I believe, that just the everyday person can grab a hold of if he or she chooses to do so. But rather than dive into all of that, I want to approach the current hysteria that I see out there right now with a little dose of reality. I want you as an individual to consider something extremely important, something I want you to learn now, if you haven't already, that you can apply to anything the rest of your life. And that is, it's not the thing that you fear that will destroy you normally. It's the way you think about it. It's the space it takes up in your mind that can destroy you. So it's not the thing or the event itself, but it's the way you think about it. It's your mindset about it. It's the way you process it, the way you deal with it. I have always said this. In fact, if I look back in all of my podcasts, it's very possible that I already did an episode on this. I don't know which one. I don't know when I talked about it, but it's definitely something I've mentioned before. So it's not the thing that comes against you that will bring you down. It's the way you think about it. It's the way you process it. This has never been more true than today. And I don't know who's listening. I don't know how you feel about all of this, but I want to tell you something very, very clear. You need to get a hold of your mindset. You need to get a hold of your thoughts. You need to get a hold of the cycle of worry, doubt, and fear that has taken over your mind. You need to decide what you believe and what you think. Because when you analyze what's happening right now in general society and in the news, and you can take out the politics for a moment, the hysteria surrounding this situation is driving people to do things they would not normally do. The hysteria is changing lives. The hysteria is keeping people from making common sense decisions. And the hysteria is over something that's unlikely to do to you what you think it might do. That's just common sense and that's science. And it's such a strong example of how we can allow fear of the unknown, fear of an outcome that we don't want, fear of something that feels bigger than us, fear of something we don't understand. That fear can drive us to make decisions, to think thoughts, to focus on the wrong things, and those things end up changing our life, not the thing that comes against us. So for example, and again, if you made these decisions over the holidays, I'm not judging you. I just want you to consider this as an example moving forward in your life. The Omicron variant, as it is right now, is very transmissible, but extremely less deadly, if you will, than the Delta variant or the original whatever version of this virus. So that's a known fact. That's a scientific fact. And yet, if you decided to stay away, to cancel things, to not be with your loved ones, to change decisions based off that, then you have allowed something that was threatening you to change you more than the thing itself would. What I mean by that is if you caught the Omicron, it's very likely it would just be a common cold for you. Not saying that some people don't get really sick. I'm not saying that. They do every year from colds, from flus. But we know that it doesn't have the massive impact that the original version of this virus did. Therefore, if you know that fact to be true, but yet the influence of the fear and the propaganda and the thoughts you have in your mind, all of that caused you to make decisions in your life that changed your life forever or took away things that you can never get back. That is what changes you. It's not the virus. It's the decisions you make. You may not want to hear that from me. You may stop listening to my podcast, but I couldn't think of a better example. I need you to hear that. It's not the thing that comes against you that usually takes you down. It's not that thing. We've all survived a lot of things that we thought were horrible, that with failures or things that threatened us that we thought would bring us down, but it really wasn't that thing that brought us down. It was usually the way we thought about it, our mindset, the way we dealt with it, the decisions we made. That's where the impact comes. It doesn't come from the thing that threatens us. And I can't think of a better example than this weak version of this virus causing common colds, some cases a little bit more, all over this country right now, all over the world. But it's not that thing, is it? 99% of you will do fine. But the decisions that you've made, the decisions others are making, irreversible decisions in some cases, moments you can't get back, those are the things that affect you. Those are the permanent changes. Those are the things that ultimately make a difference in your life, not that thing that's threatening you. So where's your focus? How do you balance that? I mean, we can argue science all day and you can feel this way and that way and political and not political. That's not the point. What do you do when you're facing a fear, when you're facing a threat? What do you do so that you don't get taken down by your reaction to it? Because that is in your control. That doesn't have to happen. You need to put everything in context. You need to look at that thing that you're facing and that threat that's staring you in the face. And you need to find as much evidence as you can find to think correctly about it. You need to be fact-based. You need to decide what is true and what is not. What do you know to be fact and what do you feel, right? Because what you feel may not be based in fact. You can't react out of emotion. You need to react out of facts. And if you don't have a lot of facts, go find them. If you can't find them, then make sure you're not making decisions from a point of emotion. Now, we can use any example in life. I'll give you a very simple one. Let's say you get a letter from the IRS and the IRS is auditing you, God forbid. If that happens, that's kind of a threat. People feel like that's a threat, right? That feels intimidating. Well, that threat can be something that you can obsess over, get sick over, lose sleep over, toss and turn over, fret over, when in fact it's just something you need to go through. You probably won't have a very bad outcome. Most people don't. They may owe some money. They may find some inconsistencies. But unless you've been doing something you shouldn't be doing, for the most part, it's simply a difficult thing you need to go through. But you come out the other side fine. I mean, you may owe some money. You may not owe anything. But that's not the thing that's going to hurt you or destroy you or bring you down. It's the way you process that threat. It's what it takes from you. It's the loss of your peace. It's the loss of moments in your life where you're fretting and worrying and sick to your stomach when you could have been in peace and focusing on other things. You still have to answer that letter. You still have to do that work. But your reaction to it is everything. I could give you so many examples like that, but it's just heavy on me right now with what I'm seeing out there and the reaction to something that doesn't deserve that much space in your head. More importantly, doesn't deserve the loss of moments in your life, the loss of connection with loved ones, the loss of traditions, the loss of opportunities for children, the loss of business. It's not equal with the threat. And so what do we end up paying a price for when we allow fear to overcome us, when we allow fear of something to blind us, when we allow it to be bigger than it really is? Then we are on the losing end. But that was our choice. You know, it's funny, in nature, you see a lot of different animals who may be smaller, but they have defense mechanisms. Some have colors, some have a poison they can inject if an animal goes after them or bites them. Some can spray like a skunk. God gives animals and insects defense mechanisms. Some of those are to puff up and to seem bigger than they are. That's one of their defense mechanisms. But that's what fear does to us. It puffs itself up. Whatever that is, that's staring us in the face, that's threatening us. It makes itself bigger than it really is. And we have a choice to say, oh my gosh, I'm afraid, you're huge. Let me go make a whole bunch of decisions based off this unrealistic fear. Or instead, you look fear in the face, you look that threat in the face, and you say, what are you really made out of? What are you really comprised of? What in this do I need to be concerned about? It's not that you're not going to have fear. You can take action, but you can't take a blanket action out of extreme fear and think that you're being wise. Instead, break it down. Look at that threat and decide what in here is real. What in here can I react to? What action can I take that will minimize this? And how do I choose to feel about this in my life? And at the end of the day, you have a choice. You have a choice. Like the Bible says, I put before you life and death. Choose life. Well, we're not always choosing life over death, but we are, in a sense, making choices that bring us closer to life or bring us closer to things that die in our life. Decisions that bring us into darkness or decisions that minimize us. So you can categorize that as life and death, but always choose the light side. Always choose life with wisdom and with doing everything that you can within your power to minimize the real threat that you face, not the imagined threat, not the puffed up threat, not the threat that's been propagandized and blown up way beyond the reality. It's on you to find out what you're really facing and make wise decisions from that. And don't expect everyone to support you. Don't expect to have a crowd of people cheering you on, because that's not how life always is. But you have to have that peace inside of you to know that, wait a minute, this thing that's threatening me, that's not what's going to hurt me. It's how I react to it. And what do I always say? Your only control is your mind and how you direct it, your thoughts and how you decide to react to something. That's the only control you have. You cannot control the Omicron variant of the virus. You have no control over it, but you do have a control over how you respond to it. And I urge you, do not close your eyes and just follow in a straight line. Open your eyes wide. You decide what you're really facing, what the real threat is. You make choices from a place of peace. You decide how you want to react to the thing that's threatening you. Because remember, it's not likely to take you down. It rarely does, those threats against us. But our fear will lie to us. Fear is a liar. Don't listen to the fear. Get into the part of your mind where you say what's real and what's not, and make the right choices. And be an example to those around you when you do that. Be an example. Be someone who is steady, someone who is wise, someone who seeks truth, and someone who uses all of that to the best of their ability to make good decisions. So I encourage you, don't be afraid. That thing that's threatening you, it's not going to take you down. The thing that will change your life forever is your mindset, and that's within your control. Have a great week, guys. Have a great New Year's. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset Radio. Before you go, please visit ElizabethNader.com to learn more about the Mindset Maven and how she is guiding high performers to map their mindset to their message so they can effectively express who they are and why their ideas should win. Looking forward to seeing you online.